Hello again, everyone. We're here in Pelham on Fifth Avenue to talk with Richard Altobelli Sr., better known as Richie Bell to everyone in Pelham. And we're just going to talk about his life as he's 90 years young. Richie Bell, good to be with you. Tell us what it was like to grow up in Pelham in the 1930s and the 1940s.
Well, for me, it was great. It was great because I was adopted. I was in a home in Brooklyn, and my parents lost their son, and they came and picked me out of and I was lucky.
Wow.
And I came to Pelham. I remember I was young. I remember crossing the bridge. That's all. But I came to one of the finest villages you could come to in that time, really. So I got to be thankful for that. I never knew who my parents were till maybe 40 years after, when my father died. My not my real father. I got a letter from the home and told me all the things. It was unbelievable. So, but I came, like I said, I came to this village here, and everything good happened for me, boy. Through my life, I consider myself one of the luckiest fellows. I came here. I started school here. In fact, I started in St. Catherine's, and all my friends, all the people, kids here, most of them went to Hutchinson School. So I don't know how. It was in second grade. I got thrown out of St. Catherine's School. I don't know why. And I was going to Hudson School. So that's sort of my kind of career, you know. And the thing that I was always interested in was sports. And I always wanted to be a gym teacher, but I had no brains. God dang it. And so I took the next step, and I took any kind of coaching kids. I started the Little League in Pelham myself, and one other fellow, and I started girls basketball, boys 12-year-old boys football, and I got into the recreation field because I couldn't make the grade and become what I wanted to come. So I took the next step, which was like a very, very, very good to me, and Pelham was very good to me. I was involved in a lot of kids, and I think I'm recreation 45 years.
Well, Richie Bell, if I could take you back a little, tell us about you at Pelham High School. You were on the baseball team, you were on the basketball team, you were co-captain of the football team.
Yeah.
What was that like at Pelham High School?
Well, that was great. That was the only thing I wanted to do was play sports. But and like I said, I wanted to play on the varsity, all the teams, which I was on all the teams. But I never advanced. I didn't have it. My father wanted to send me to college. He had a big business here at that time, and he said, "You want to come with me, and I'll make you a partner, or I want you to go to college." I said, "Pop, I'm not a college. I never read a book. I'm not a college, I just love to play sports."
Well, tell us what happened.
Was bad.
Tell us, that's not bad. Tell us what happened after high school. The Korean War had started. Shortly after high school, you enlisted in the Air Force?
Shortly after the Air Force, the Korean War, when I got out of school, 1950, the Korean War started. And I said to my father, he says, "I don't want to go in the Army, because if I go in the Army, I had in my mind I was going to Korea." So I said, "I want to join the Air Force," because that was the new Air Force, the United States Air Force. It was brand new. It was its own branch. I said, "I want to go, and that seems like the easiest thing there is." So I went. I did. I joined I joined the Air Force for 4 years, and in the Air Force, when I got in the Air Force, was sent to training camp in Newburgh, New York, Stewart Air Force Base.
Wow.
Yeah, what a thing! Nobody could. It was 50 airmen from New York, and 23 went to Korea, and 2 guys on the list. One from Yonkers, and we'd become good friends, and one from Pelham were sent to Stewart Air Force Base. That's one of the, and in the service, I was that's where I was stationed, and I worked directly for a colonel, and all he wanted, and I was a clerk typist, so he told me how to type.
Wow.
And all he said to me was, Richard, I'm flying every day. You take care of your office, and there's no problem. You'll have no problems, no extra duties, no nothing. What could you ask for? First day I get KP. I called him on the phone. I said, "You got some connections?"
So
he says, "I'll be right over."
So KP being kitchen patrol, is that what KP was?
KP watched it.
Yeah.
All right. So he comes in the office and he says, "Lieutenant, I'm going to tell you this once and not again. I don't want to hear any story, nothing." He says, "You will not give Airman Altobelli any other duties. He works directly for me." So there I fell right into something, and all it, like I say, and they didn't want. He shot 6 MiGs down in Korea, and they didn't want to send him back because they were afraid that he would get. And that's all he had in his mind, that he wanted to go back to Korea. So that's what he told me. He says, "You take care of this desk. First day I get KP." After that, he came and he told the lieutenant, "I told you once, I'll tell you again, he gets no extra duties." Then he found out I lived in Pelham. He said, "You live in Pelham, and you can go home every weekend. You go Saturday you go home." And I was having the first baby of his father. so, and that's what that's where I started out, and. I spent my time in the Air Force, and when my duties were up, I got out of the Air Force.
So you get out of the Air Force, you come back to Pelham, and around 1953 or so, you and your friend Jim Capicelli, you founded the Pelham Little League. Tell us about that.
I came back to Pelham to my father. He had the vegetable store. Was out here, 2 stores. It was big,
right?
And it was well known. He sold. So I came back to here, and I worked for him, and all the Pelham people knew us. We were well known, and most of the work was done delivering. How the maid called up, and Pelham all. Customers had big customers, and we delivered, and that's what I switched. So I worked in a store with him.
So you worked with your dad during the day, and then what? You worked at the Little League nights and weekends, or how did that work?
No, I worked anytime. I worked anytime. It was a big thing when we first started. Nobody thought it would go, and there was 2 of us, myself and Mr. Capicella, and we said we're going for it. We went to the board. We needed $100, and they turned us down. Boy, wow. I couldn't believe it. I really $100. So we came back, and then the next year they called us on the phone and wanted to give us some money because they started building. And that's what I was doing, playing with kids. I had that I wanted to be a phys ed teacher, so I ended up. Like I said, I started a lot of things in Pelham for kids, girls and boys. I read.
So tell us
I
some
saw-
more about that. After the Little League started in the 50s, which we're almost 70 years later, it's still going strong. But tell us some other things you did when you came back. You were working for your dad. What are the other organizations or teams?
Well,
Boys and girls, right?
yeah, boys and girls, and men and women.
Wow.
I started, like I said, we started the Little League with me and another fella. At that time, I started a girls' a softball team because we had a league. I started a league, softball league, because we had men's, but we didn't have any women.
Wow.
I said we can't do that.
Good for you.
But it wasn't a lot of women playing, but so I started the girls softball, and it went all popular. The girls came out and played, and I was proud. I refereed for nothing, so they had no play. I never made a cent. I took money from the town for any kind of. People don't know that.
Wow.
Because when you work for the town, you got the village or the town. It's a good, part-time job. You get paid pretty well. You work your time, but you made better money than you made anyplace else. I never accepted a cent in my life.
Wow. That's fantastic.
That is unbelievable. Yeah, I just didn't. I would love what I was doing, and I kept doing recreation things all the time. Then, of course, they put me on a rec commission. I was on a rec commission for 43 years.
Yeah, when did that start about? And did they create that position just for you?
Yeah, that started on a rec commission would be in the 50s. It started in the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your children, because you were raising 3 children with your wife, Joan, Richard Jr., Lois, and John. And I assume you coached all of them. I know Lois has already told me stories about you coaching her. But tell us a little bit about your kids and what they played, and I assume you coached all 3 of them.
Well, I had, like I said, started, and I did it. I tried to do everything I did for kids. It was, like I said, was nothing happened. So then I had my own, I had my own 3 come in, and I coached them. I worked in I always work with some kind of team. Like I said, my wife did a lot of work. She didn't get credit because a woman at a time, which for me to go in the afternoon, she had to stay in the store.
Mm-hmm.
That's the deal we made. That's it. But I loved it because I had to get out of 4, and then St. Catherine's School, who is around the corner here, had no sports.
Wow.
Yeah, no. So I says, it's a school in Pelham. I got to start. So I went to the nuns. And I said to the nuns, my daughter was in playing in rec over there, and all girlfriends I knew. And I said, I'd like to start a basketball program if you let me. They had the gym there and everything. And they were scared. I could see it on their face. They thought it was going to start a war or something.
Right.
So it says, think of it, maybe got a couple of parents and talk to them, I'm here. Well, 2 days later, they were here with 6 parents. They said, what do you want to do? And I explained to them everything. It says, do whatever you want, we're back here. You need money, no, it's not going to cost any money. I'm not charging. I'm going to do for the, And then I started, like I said, St. Catherine's had nothing. First year we won the league.
Wow.
Oh my God, yeah. Unheard of. I had that back. God gave me that backing somehow, It was an easy thing to do when you went down to it, because most of the Catholic schools our size didn't have any real coaches that understood the game. So you could beat them.
Right.
You could play zone.
Good coaching.
You
Yep.
could play zone. You know, you had a lot of, and that's what I did, and we were lucky. We really won, and then from there, you know, like I said, from there, then I got on the rec. They put me on the rec board, of course, and I loved that, and I started a lot of programs with that, and the one thing I'm proud of is that, and my wife, of course, there was a handicap program. There was no handicap program around. And I says, we have to start a handicap program. I sat down with my wife, and we can't have one and not have another.
Good for you.
It's, yeah. And so we started the handicap, that one over. And then Scarsdale had their own building. I don't know whether you know you've been in Scotland. They had their own recreation building for
Yep.
the town. We got nothing. So I went to Scarsdale, and I said to, I knew the fellow there well. They knew because I was involved. And I said to him, I see you have a recreation program on Friday night for all children. I said, do you think we could work together? And the guy says, I got to go before the time. He was scared.
Right.
But sooner or later we got together, and that's where we went on Friday night. We took 15 kids up there every Friday night.
That's fantastic stuff.
Yeah. And it grew larger, but then from there we took them. I went to Lawson where they have their own pool, a big pool, and I said to them, is there any night you think I could give her I have a recreation program in Pelham. So the guy was nice. He went before the board, and they're just scared to go before the board.
Right.
But I knew somebody. I knew somebody. In Scarsdale, father that would. So I really had no problem doing that. That was on the side work. You got one father go in there and say my kid could go swimming. So we took the swimming on. We took the handicap swimming on Saturday. We got the pool from Lodge on the yellow. Says you can have the pool in the morning from 9 to 10. Geez, that ain't bad. So we had the van. So and I got my finger out that I tried to do everything I could for the kids, because the kids, and where it didn't cost money.
Richie Bell, this is all fabulous stuff. I think we're going to stop part 1 right here, and we'll pick it up for part 2. But this has been great. This is Steve Kallas with Richard Altobelli Sr., who everyone knows as Richie Bell, and we'll see you the next time.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. When you get things like that happen, people are thinking about you.
Yep.
You've got people like you, and people don't know that.